I'm going to be the moderator for this webinar. I'm a digital marketing personnel with Ha-Shem, and like you know, this webinar is organized by SolarWinds in collaboration with Ha-Shem. And so it will interest you to know that Ha-Shem and SolarWinds have been partners for about 7 years, and quite remarkable, isn't it? And so I would introduce our facilitators briefly after I just give us a highlight of what we should expect for this webinar. And so like you saw in the mail, the webinar is for 1 hour, and our facilitators have been gracious enough to inform us that we're going to have time for questions. So after the webinar, after their presentation, you will have opportunity to ask questions. Okay. Also, you need to know that this webinar is being recorded, and the presentation, the slides, will be made available after the webinar. And so you have all the resources that you need for further clarification. Okay, so like I mentioned, the SolarWinds, we're partnering with SolarWinds, and we've been partners for over 7 years, for about 7 years. And we are, okay, our facilitators for today's webinar are Dorney and Keegan. Keegan is an account executive with SolarWinds, and Dorney has worked on SolarWinds sales engineering team for over 5 years and has extensive experience with managing IT infrastructure. So you are in very good hands, and like I said, I'll assure you it will not be a waste of your time. So Ha-Shem, before I hand over to our facilitators, Ha-Shem has worked with a lot of leading IT solution providers all around the world. We're currently partners with a lot of software and hardware OEMs, manufacturers, OEMs around the world, and part of this webinar is to enlighten us on the So shortly, I'm going to be okay. So shortly, I'm going to be handing over to our facilitators. We have 2 facilitators, Keegan, like I mentioned earlier, and Dorney. For those of us who are just joining, Keegan is an account executive with SolarWinds, and Dorney has worked on SolarWinds sales engineering team for over 5 years and has extensive experience with managing IT infrastructure. So Keegan would take up from here right now.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everybody, for joining our session today. As my colleague just mentioned, this session has been scheduled by SolarWinds and Ha-Shem, and we will be doing a deep dive into some of our network monitoring products that we have. As mentioned, it is myself, Ryan Keegan from SolarWinds. I work on the sales team here at SolarWinds. On the line with me is Mr. Mark Dorney from our pre-sales technical team. We have the team from Ha-Shem also on the call, and we would like this to be as much of an interactive session as possible. So please, if you have any questions, you can put them here in the chat box you can see on screen right now. You can use the Q&A chat to send any questions you think of during the session. We'd like to also take the opportunity to capture any thoughts or questions you have in relation to the products being used during today's briefing. And we really do appreciate this feedback. Also, if anybody would like to request a demo of the software, let's say a one-to-one session, Ha-Shem would be willing to schedule this for you, and this would be no problem at all. So you could skip this one, Mark. This is just our introduction, which I've covered. So I'll get right into it, guys, and any questions, as I said, please let us know. So SolarWinds, we provide a broad range of products from network monitoring to systems monitoring, database monitoring, and I'll take you through all of that in a moment. But the aim of all of our software products is to make the job of an IT professional easier, okay? We arm technology professionals with the powerful software they need to solve today's IT management challenges. And we will look at some of these challenges later on in the session, and we will hopefully be able to show you how some of our software products are helping with today's ever-changing IT management challenges. This is a brief overview of our product portfolio. As I mentioned earlier, we've a network management portfolio. In there, we have products for monitoring the performance of your network. So that's any network device, switches, servers, routers. We have products for monitoring bandwidth consumption and monitoring network traffic, configurations management, IP address management, tracking users and devices connected to your network. Then on our systems management portfolio, we do application server monitoring. You can monitor server configuration changes, monitor the performance of your websites, your virtual environment, your storage arrays. We also have products for database management, IT security, which we see a big focus on since the start of this year or towards the end of last year, and there's some new products that we've actually recently added to our IT security portfolio. And then we of course have some help desk solutions. We have products for remote support, for help desk, and for mobile administration also. So earlier I mentioned about some of the challenges that we find many of our end users are facing. And some of these were written down before we got into today's session. Obviously the main one we see is the growing complexity and the number of devices that some end users are managing, especially for customers that would be monitoring devices across multiple locations, multiple sites. You know, it's very helpful when you have software that gives you visibility into the performance of your remote locations. We see an increasing reliance on third parties for applications, and third-party applications need to be monitored, and you need to be able to see how your applications are performing, and you need to be able to troubleshoot these issues when they impact your end users. Another growing challenge or trend we see, as I mentioned earlier, was security and breach opportunity, and we have products available for monitoring, for detecting intrusion and monitoring threats to your environment. Network traffic growth, and this is always very popular with our customers in your region, being able to monitor network traffic, being able to identify what users, what applications and what protocols are consuming your bandwidth. Fragmented management. and of course root cause analysis. And when there's an issue, our software allows you to identify what's causing this issue quickly so that it can be identified and resolved very quickly. So at this point, I did not want to spend too much time going through slides, and I am available if there's questions on anything that I just covered. But we really wanted to spend some time on this session getting into the products, getting into the product presentation. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Mark Dorney, and he's going to take us through the product. We're going to cover the Network Performance Monitor, the NetFlow Traffic Analyzer, and we'll also cover the Server and Application Monitor. And go ahead, Mark, I'll hand it over to you. If there's any questions, please use the Q&A box below.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Dorney. I'm a sales engineer with SolarWinds, and I've been with the company close to 6 years now. So, as Ryan has outlined, we are going to take you through 3 products this morning. Now, if anybody is unfamiliar with the Orion platform, what you're seeing here is the web console, okay? And this Orion platform is a core .NET framework. So you can see it here at the bottom of the banner. It's the Orion core platform. And the Orion core platform is a Windows .NET framework. So it's installed on Windows Server 2016 and abovewards. And all the data is stored on an SQL database. What happens then is we have various different products. We call them dashboards, but they're essentially different products. And each of these products has separate functionality, separate costs, separate licensing. So you can plug in any one of these products. So the whole idea with this Orion platform and our software is that we have one IT consolidated view. So you can, it's kind of a plug and play. You can plug in whatever you want. If you wanted a network performance monitor, serve an application, look at the virtualization infrastructure, you purchase the products that you need. The software is user-centric. You don't have to buy everything. You purchase what you want to choose. So for the purpose of the demo today, we're going to start with the Network Performance Monitor. I'm just going to scroll up here. So this would be here, the Network Performance Monitor, okay? And what this tool does, it's an advanced tool for performance and health of your network. So it's going to give you detailed metrics at the device and interface level. With the Orion platform, under the settings page here, there's an automated network discovery. You can go out and discover your network by IP address ranges, subnets. You can add in individual IP addresses of devices. And you can also pull in your organization units from Active Directory for your servers. We also have an option to manually add nodes. So if you only wanted to add 1 or 2 devices later on after discovery, that functionality is there as well. So with the Network Performance Monitor, how we get the metrics and how we get the information from the devices, we're using industry standard protocols. So once the discovery goes out, it's using ICMP to get up and down status, and it's using SNMP to get all the detailed status. For Windows, we're using WMI. We can integrate with some APIs like for F5, Meraki, but the main method of gathering all the detailed metrics is through SNMP protocol. So here you're viewing the impairment summary page. We have grouped these by vendor, but you can group these by location, etc. There's some nice resources here showing me interfaces with high % utilization. So on the left-hand side here, I have the device. When you hover over any device, you're going to get this little pop-up tool. You can see the interface in question, that the interface is spiking, so you can see the receive % utilization is at 90%. And we're able to drill down at any stage within the software to the device and interface level. I'm just going to show you some resources here. We can show you a hardware health overview. So you can show you devices which are having warning or critical hardware health. And again, you'll be able to alert and report on this. You can see high errors and discards. So you can see this firewall in question. This is the interface, this is the inside internal interface. And there seems to be a large number of receive discards there. We can show you the list of VLANs on your network and what devices are tagged in that VLAN. And we can show you your list of all your VRF information here also. So under the management here, I can see what interfaces and what nodes are configured in that VRF. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scroll up. The software is very easily to customize. I click the Customize Page button, and I can add any widgets, remove widgets. So it's very easy to customize to your needs. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to expand the Cisco devices, and I'm going to drill down on one of my core devices. So with a couple of clicks, within 3 clicks, you can go from the summary page to device information to an interface if needs be. So I'm on the device details page of this core device. You can see it's a Cisco Catalyst 45 series. You can see the system name, the description, the iOS version. When you run a discovery, you choose what you want to monitor. So you're going to get all this information out of the box, but you don't have to monitor, we say, every interface in question. You can only monitor your critical uplinks, or you can monitor every interface. So here I'm monitoring 37 interfaces, 33 are up and 4 are down. I can also see hardware health details, and I can see that there's some information that the hardware health is critical, and I can expand this, and we're able to show power, fan, and temperature supply, and we're able to alert on this as well. So the way the evaluations and the software works, you work down through the left-hand pane. So this is just giving me a global summary of the device page. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at specific vital stats. Okay? So I can see response time, packet loss, CPU and memory utilization. If I scroll over here, I can see network latency, packet loss. I can specify time frames, last 12 hours, last 2 hours. I can see the CPU load and min-max average CPU load. When I go to my interface page, I get a high-level overview of some interface traffic metrics. So I see the status of the interface, and I can see my receive and send utilization. But I can also drill down on the interface to get more detailed metrics. So here I'm seeing my receive and send utilization. This is a great chart. It's showing me my interface downtime. So if there was any issues with the interface through a time period, it would color code here when it was down. If I scroll down, this is the interface details. I can see the name, the MAC address, the IP address. With our software, we read the interface configured bandwidth speed. So you can see it's a 1 gig. And what we're doing then is we're using SNMP polling. So we're using 64-bit and 32-bit SNMP OID counters. And we count the current traffic rates passing through on your interface based on your polling frequency. We have a great chart here. It's going to show me my min-max bits per second average passing through the interface. The charts are very interactive. I can scroll to time periods. I can do 12-hour periods. Or if I only want to see min-max, I don't want to see average metrics, I can just uncheck this. If I scroll down here, I can see the errors and discards which will be passing through on that interface as well. So I'm just going to go back up one level to the device details page. And I want to show you the network related information that we can get with the network performance monitor. So you're able to get some routing neighbor changes. So you see that there. You're able to get routing table information. You're able to see all the interfaces that you're currently monitoring. I can see my layer 2 and layer 3 topology information, so I can see which device, what interfaces are connected. I can get my list of VLANs, VRS, but it's very easy to customize this, and you can choose what information. The next thing what I want to show you here, it's called the Orion Intelligent Mapping. So we brought this out about 2 releases ago. And what this does, it builds out a topology map based on contextual information in the database. So I can see this core device that I'm currently monitoring, it connects to this SQL. And when I select the link, I can see one of the devices is having high utilization, and one of the interfaces is getting a lot of errors and discards. So that's something that we might need to investigate. And if I want, I can drill down on the interface on the switch to see the high level of errors and discards. So you can see we're getting a lot of errors and discards through a specific time period. So we may need to investigate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back to this network top 10. And this is a great protocol for engineers, network engineers, when they arrive to work in the morning. You can set this up to top 100, and you can customize it exactly what information you want to see. So you can see interfaces by percent utilization. You can see the device, the interface in question, and you're able to see the receive and send utilization. I can see interfaces that are having high volumes of traffic, receive and send. I can see devices which are having response time issues, errors and discards, packet loss. So this is fully customizable. So this is a good area to come in just to have a quick view and see which devices are causing you issues in the network. We have a great feature with the Network Performance Monitor. It's called NetPath Services. So we are predominantly agentless, but we do have an optional Windows and Linux agent with the Orion platform. And with this Windows agent, this NetPath service is a plugin for that. And what this NetPath service does, it draws a hop-by-hop analysis from a source to a destination based on a port number. So as you can see here on screen, I just need to minimize this. I'm going from my Windows machine here, and I'm going to NetSuite on port 443. What we're able to do is show you latency and packet loss. Now I can see that at this time period there had been an issue, and if I look, there appears to be a bit of a loop. I'm just going to minimize this part here, guys, so I can make this a bit bigger. So I can see that there appears to be a loop because there's high traffic utilization. We have another product then that's called a Network Configuration Manager, and that product backs up your startup and running configuration files. With NPM, you're going to see all the devices within your network, the route it takes. But when you have the Network Configuration Manager installed, we can show you a side-by-side comparison, and we color code where and alert if somebody can make a change on a device. So you can see here, somebody changed the external interface to the internal interface, which is causing a loop on the network. I'm just going to show you another example of NetPath, where an awful lot of people are moving everything to Office 365. And we have a great example here. Now, this NetPath feature is no additional charge. This is built in with the Orion platform and the Network Performance Monitor. So here I'm running a probe from my East data center. The agent can go on a Windows server or laptop. You can see the devices inside my network, but I can also see devices outside my network. When I select one of these devices and I scroll down, I can see information like packet loss, what are the contact details, etc. The Network Performance Monitor also gives you wireless monitoring out of the box. So we support multiple vendors. We just have Cisco and Meraki in our lab. When I expand this, I can see the client name, the SSID, the MAC address, and I can see the amount of bytes received and transmitted. What I want to show you as well is we have a great feature called Parse Slack. It's built into the Orion platform. And what this is the new way to do charting with the Orion platform. So I'm going to load a network project. So I can have multiple projects stored. And I'm just going to load a network project where we're going to look at 3 separate devices having multiple metrics. So this is loading up now. And this allows you to create custom charts, which can be exported to CSV. And what we're looking at here is my east, my west, and my proxy. And we're looking at some nice metrics there showing me my average CPU load, response time, and % utilization. Okay? We can look at this over time periods. But if I wanted to add more entities, like an interface metrics, I can. And this is very easy to do. So if I wanted to see like some real-time polling metrics like the peak receipt bytes on my MPLS circuit, I can just drag and drop this over. I'm going to select another interface here, and I can drag and drop this to the chart. So you can see it's very easy to get this information. With the performance analysis in SolarWinds, we call it Parse Slack. We also, once the metric has a little rocket ship or spaceship here, you can do real-time polling. So this does a real-time polling of a window of 10 minutes. And it's very good if somebody said I'm having CPU memory issues on a network or router or interface traffic metrics. You will start getting the information in 1 second intervals. Again, with the Orion platform, we have alerting built in out of the box. We'll give you alerts pre-ship with the product. You can view any of these alerts. So I'll just view an alert, like high response time. It shows you the current status and the severity. And when we go back to our all active alerts and click manage alerts, we give you alerts out of the box that you can just turn on and turn off, or you also have the ability to create your own custom alerts. And I'll just show you what we can do with a custom alert. So you give it a name, a description, the frequency you want to evaluate the trigger condition, and the severity. I can also restrict access for alerts, views, user accounts with the Orion platform.
And again, guys, if there are any questions, you can put them in the chat box or the Q&A box. Thank you. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, depending on what product you can have installed, you can define your trigger condition. Now, we have every module here, but if I wanted to do something like CPU load is greater than 75%, I can do that with the software. I can define the condition must exist for so many minutes before the trigger condition is activated. We have advanced option then, like if you had like router A and router B, or server A and server B down, if you want to do an AND condition, that functionality is there as well. One feature which I think is greatly added in is the scope of the alert. So this shows me the objects of which this is going to hit on. So you can see there's 18 pages of devices. But if I only want this, I know I have only 2 firewalls in my lab. So if I say machine type is equal to, and if I say my ASA, when I view this, then I can see that it's only going to trigger on these 2 devices. Okay? The reset, you can define a reset condition. So if the condition is no longer true, or you can define your own criteria. Time of day, you can have the alert always on, or you can specify a time schedule. So you can do stuff like Monday to Friday business hours, or if you want to go only from 11 to 3 a.m., that functionality is there. So now that we know the alert is triggered, what action are we going to take? And you can take multiple actions. So I can click Add Action. We can integrate, if you are using ServiceNow ticketing system, you can use SMS, kick off external programs, VB scripts. You can send chats, net messages, syslogs. The most common one that people use is email. So you give your name, you give your recipients, you'd add your mail server, and within the message body, we pre-built it with some variables based on most popular demand. But if you want, you can remove these and insert your own global, alert, or no variables. We also give you a reporting engine. And if I want to look at interfaces, this is part of the Orion core. Alerting and reporting engine. And I can view like my top 25 utilization interface metrics here. I see the node, the interface. I can edit the report. You'll also, as the backend is an SQL database, you can write your own custom scripts, and you can schedule reports. The network performance monitor also provides a knock view if you want to project this up onto a large screen, and you can tab through pages, which you might find information useful. So guys, while this is tabbing through, feel free to use that chat box. If there's any questions that we don't get to while we're demoing, we will all follow up after the webinar today. So you can see this can tab through relevant information that you want on a large screen. So what I'm going to talk about now is the network performance monitor is going to show you like your interface utilization. It shows you that my interface is at 90%, but it doesn't show me who and what is consuming the bandwidth. And this is where our network traffic analyzer product comes into play. So with the NetFlow Traffic Analyzer, we're analyzing the flow data. So we support NetFlow version 5, version 9, SFlow, JFlow, IPFix, NetStream, Cisco Wireless, NetFlow as well. And what you're seeing here is my NetFlow sources. So these are the devices which we've gone on through the command line interface and enabled NetFlow, SFlow, or whatever flow protocol you want. Here you're going to get a breakdown of conversations of the last hour. You can see 2 IP addresses. So we're working at layer 3, layer 4. We're looking at all IP related traffic. And we give you a breakdown of the ingress bytes packets. We have application traffic here. And if your devices support Cisco MBAR2, which is a Cisco technology that will look at signatures of websites. If not, you can just switch it to NetFlow. And this will show you based on port numbers. But you get a bit more detail if your devices support Cisco MBAR2. You can see your endpoints, etc., all great information on domain traffic. So what I want to do is, for argument's sake, I want to drill down on a specific interface. So I'm going to drill down on my MPLS circuit. So for argument's sake, if the network performance monitor alerted me, your interface is at 85%, then I want to come in and see what's consuming the bandwidth. So I can define time periods, I can do relative, I can do named, I can go down to 1 minute granularity, or I can do absolute time periods as well. I'm just going to leave it at the last hour, click submit. What I can also do is define what do I want to look at. The flow direction, do I want to do ingress inbound or egress outbound, or I can capture both ingress and egress traffic. Again, the online demo is only set to top 5, but you can go to top 100. You'll have a little edit button here on the left-hand side to push that up, okay? So from here then I'm able to see my protocols which are consuming the bandwidth. I'm able to see my endpoint, and an endpoint is essentially an IP address. So you can see my SQL database is taking up 13% of the traffic, which we would expect within our lab environment. And you can see an awful lot of the additional polling engines are communicating with the SQL database. I can see my applications, and again, you're getting a breakdown in terms of ingress, egress, percentages, bytes, and utilization. On the left-hand side, if your devices are Cisco, we can read this class-based quality of service details via SNMP, and we can show you then if there's any class-based quality of service drops, and you can see your pre-policy and post-policy map. Again, Again, you're going to see the conversations. And one thing I like about this, I can drill down on the conversation details to get more detailed metrics. So I'm seeing the 2 IP addresses here. And if I scroll down here, I get the amount of ingress bytes. So you can see this is between an additional polling engine and our SQL database. And you get a date and time stamp. You can see it's SQL traffic. And you're getting the direction of the traffic then as well. So one thing I want to point out with this NetFlow traffic analyzer as well, the last released, we have, it's using the flow storage database. It requires a separate SQL database. The reason being, we can handle up to 50,000 flows per second. So your Orion database and your flow storage database can co-locate on the same SQL instance. It's just that it needs a separate database. So one of the most powerful features I find with this tool is this Flow Navigator. Okay, so when you go back to the NetFlow summary page, all these transmitters, these are all views created with this Flow Navigator. Okay, it's showing you who are the highest transmitters on the network and what devices and what interface the traffic is transversing through. But what I can also do is I can create my own custom summary views. So I can say, do I want a summary view, or if I want, I can create a detailed view. I always like to go at the interface level because that's where the traffic is transversing through. And as you see on the left-hand side now, I can filter on time periods. If I said yesterday, I move a day back between these periods. See where the traffic was yesterday. Okay? I can do the flow direction. I can filter on application traffic, countries, domains, IP addresses. You will have a button here saying save this as a view to the NetFlow traffic analyzer. It's disabled on the online demo, but I click submit, and you see then that gives me the ability to create a detailed view over time periods, and I get an insight into the bandwidth consumption. What we also added in the last release was, since we're going back to an SQL database for the flow storage database, we can now alert on flow traffic, okay? So you can alert on whether an application traffic exceeds a certain amount of maybe inbound, outbound megabytes. You can say application is not present. Or one which customers were really looking for is if the device is no longer sending flow data, that you got an alert generated, because you previously you couldn't tell that unless you went to the NTA summary and you saw no data. So that's a nice little feature. I'm just going to show you some NetFlow settings as well before I move on to the Server and Application Monitor product. So the idea is the Network Performance Monitor will show you the performance and health and show you the spike on the interface. And the NetFlow Traffic Analyzer would be the most popular add-on to the Network Performance Monitor. With the NetFlow data, then you're going to see who and what is consuming the bandwidth. So you're going to see we have multiple application ports and that you can filter flow traffic on. But one thing I want to show you here is you can add more. So if I look at my Oracle database and we look at this, you can define your own application. So if you're using your own custom application on a specific port, you can give it a name, you can give it a port number, you can filter out by groups if you want, and whether you want to capture TCP or UDP traffic, and then you can create add applications that can be monitored with the flow traffic for your own custom application. So now we've identified whether it's a network issue or a good idea is a lot of people would also have, I suppose, they want to look at insight into the network infrastructure, and they also want to look into the server and application. Okay, so we see a lot of customers, they would purchase the Network Performance Monitor along with this product, the Server and Application Monitor. And the reason being, the Network Performance Monitor will identify if there's not an issue on the network. So if somebody's saying to you, my network is slow, you can use Parse Slack to check to see if there's any latency or packet loss along the network. Once you've identified that, then you can come in here and look at your server and application performance metrics. And this is what this product does, the Server and Application Monitor. It gives you a deep dive down into server and application performance metrics. So on the left-hand side here, you're seeing various templates that we have out of the box. We have some for Windows, Linux, Nagas. There's plenty of templates there built in out of the box. I'm just going to drill into one of these app insights, and these are very comprehensive ones that we've built for Windows. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the application component monitor template. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing the server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down on the application template here now, the application monitor template. And what these application monitor templates, within these are specific component monitors. And what these component monitors do, they return tests or metrics on a given process, service, the Windows event log. You can do Linux scripts, Nagios scripts, PowerShell scripts, VB scripts. The whole idea is that you're going to test performance of the application. And you can do tests on the server. So here I can see the application. I can put it into maintenance mode. I can view the data in Parse Slack. There's a great little, under the management tab, I can see the real-time process explorer, event viewer, service control. And I'm going to launch the service control. So again, we're using SNMP-WMI. We have optional Windows and Linux agent for devices as well. If you had anything in the DMZ that you didn't want to open up all the ports, that functionality is there. I don't have to RDP onto the server. I'm using the WMI protocol. And then I can start monitoring the servers. I can restart the service if it needs be. Okay? If I scroll down here, we're looking at all the databases on the SQL instance. And again, I have the ability to drill down to get more metrics, and I can see like the database size and the transaction size. I can see my all active alerts here. We have a feature called App Stack, okay? It's under the Orion platform. It's called the environmental under home, okay? And what that does is 5 or 6 different products in there. One looking at your applications, one looking at your databases, one looking at your servers, and we're getting a trace down to the storage metrics. So there's optional additional add-on products here. I'll show you what it looked like if we just had the network, the server and application monitor in a second. I would jump to my lab VM. But it gives you a good visual representation of a specific application. How is it affecting? Is it the server? Is it the application? Is it process the server? So it gives you a good visual representation of that. Here I can see the SQL error log. I can see my buffer manager metrics here. This is a nice view here, the process and services. So this is the component monitor. We're looking at the SQL server, and we're looking at the SQL executable. And what we're able to do then is show you CPU, physical, virtual IOPS. Okay? You can also see memory metrics. You can see your SQL Server metrics. If I scroll down here, I can see my sessions and connections. And there's a nice little feature here. It shows me on the database what users, so I can see the SA login, the hosts that are connecting from the connection time, and the amount of bytes transferred. A great little feature I like within the software, and we use this to test in our lab environment. We show you the SQL query that's taking up the most CPU time. So you may need to optimize your SQL query.
Hi Mark, there was just one question here which I'm about to put in the chat box.
Okay.
The question is, how can I monitor bandwidth utilization based on the bandwidth provision by ISP? For example, I have 2 links, one is 25 and the other is 10. Load balancing is configured on the WAN. How can I get the bandwidth utilization?
Okay, so you need to be doing that with the network performance monitor. You need to be able to look at both interfaces, and I'll just jump back to that, okay? So for argument's sake, when I drill down, no, we're not going to do it at the ISP level. We do it at your configured interface, okay? So an awful lot of what our customers do, they would come down here and they would drill into the interface. So we go to my MPLS circuit, because that's a good one that will be connecting to your WAN, okay? You would look at the interface in question, and you can build out reports on this, okay? So I would go to my MPLS link or something like this. I would drill down in the interface, and what we can do then is we read the interface configure bandwidth through SNMP, and what we do then is we count the current rate of traffic. So what we're able to do then is you're able to go in and we have reports built in out of the box for interface traffic over the last 7 days. If I do interface traffic, okay? Okay. And what we can do then is I can see the average interface availability, average peak on the WAN interface, which is a good report here. So this is showing you like on your WAN interface, which may be something that your ISP provider is providing there, okay? And what you're able to get a breakdown as is the devices which are monitoring on the device and the amount of peak receive, send, peak utilization. Does that answer the question? Again, with the network traffic analyzer, for your bandwidth consumption then, you would see then within that link what endpoint is consuming the bandwidth.
One other question there, Mark. So somebody just asked, if they were to run an evaluation copy of NetFlow Traffic Analyzer with Network Performance Monitor, how long would it typically take for them to install the evaluation and to get it configured?
Okay, that's a great question. Typically, once you meet all the system requirements, Windows 2016 and above, we ship evaluations with SQL Express. So it may need to go up and download SQL Express. That would be the longest part of the installation. But typically, you would have it installed in less than 40 minutes to an hour. Once it's installed, then you would run a network discovery. So once you have the network discovery, your SMB credentials, all that added into the software, within an hour or 2 hours, once you have enabled NetFlow, you would start seeing metrics. One thing to note as well, on evaluation copies, we give you a fully functional 30-day trial. There is no restrictions whatsoever. Some people set it up where they point at, if you're going to production, we recommend that you have a separate SQL database. When you run the installer, there is a lightweight installation that would install SQL Express for you. A lot of people use that for POCs, but you can set it up like in a production environment. If you're serious about making the purchase, Ryan will happy enough then give you a quote, and it's just a matter of applying the license key in the web license manager, and all the data is stored from your evaluation, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on with the certain application monitors. I just want to show some features of that, guys. So I showed you metrics there at the application layer. What we have then is we have server metrics as well. So we're pulling metrics in at the server and operating system level. So here I'm on the Node Details page. Again, you're going to see device stats, etc. But one thing I want to point out here with certain application monitor, we can do asset inventory. So what you're seeing here is your asset inventory information. I can see what type of server. I can see the processors and memories. Information here. If I scroll down, I'm able to see my logical volumes, and we're actually able to drill down into the volumes, your fixed disks, your volumes, to show you metrics in terms of like space, average disk speed, etc., total IOPS. If I scroll down further, we're able to see information like Windows updates. I'm able to see my network interfaces. I can see what software is installed, the firmware, and I can see what driver is installed. This is all coming from the server and application monitor. What I want to just show you here as well as with the server and application monitor, we have a vast amount of templates available out of the box. So I'm just going to go into my application monitor templates. So you can see there's over 293 different templates. I just search SQL. We have some for Windows, we have some for MySQL, Postgres. You can apply these templates. But what's very important to highlight as well, we have a very strong online forum called TWAC. Okay, there's over 150,000 plus users using this. People upload templates that they've created. So you'll have the ability to either import user-created templates from TWAC, or you'll also have the ability to use one of the ones out of the box or create your own new template. And that's what I just want to show you there before we finish up in the webinar. I just want to show you how you can create your templates with the server and application manager. Yeah. So this is my manage applications, okay? I go to application templates here, and I just click create new template. So here I can see my component monitors, and we have about 50 different component monitors out of the box that can be used to get metrics like DHCP, DNS metrics, file existence, HTTP, Linux scripts. So I'll just check a few of these, and I guess I'll check some windows, okay? So you can see there's process monitors. I want a Windows login event monitor, partial monitors. And you can add these in and create your own custom templates as well. We'll give you a link to the guide, how do we configure this. And you can see this is going to run an SSH script. And it's going to return 10 pairs of text and value outputs. Okay. Again, if you scroll down, you can see Naga scripts. You can match any application, security system logs. I can find all logs, or I can define my own custom. And again, you can alert on this also. You can define any PowerShell script, Windows script monitors, service monitors. Now, what I want to show you is, well, the server and application monitor also provides a component monitor wizard under the settings page of the server and application monitor. And this is very good if you just want to create your own, there's a wizard there then to create templates, okay? So you can see here, I can look at some Linux instances, VMwares and Windows. I'm just going to look at service monitors. So if I was looking for 3 or 4 specific services on a server, it's a nice, easy way to do this. I can browse. So this is just the server I'm actually demoing today. I select this. I'm going to inherit the credentials from the node. And what it does then, it goes, it shows me all the services. And it lists all the services, but unfortunately, I need to check that there, and we're just going to check that there again. But it would list all the services here, and you just check a box and run through the wizard. I think somebody was playing around with my VM and they changed the polling method, so I'm not seeing the service, so I need to look into that. But that's the idea, what I want to show you. What I also want to show you, if you had the server and application monitor on its own, I'll just show you here, I have a template here on the device. It's for IIS. And when I select this here, this is how the server and application monitor would view all this information here in AppStack. So you can see this, my CPU load is at 100% on my own VM here that I'm installing there or displaying there this morning, so I need to investigate that, see what's going on. But you can see here the AppStack down here now. And it gives me a nice visual representation where there's a problem at the application level. And it's a good example to show you now because I know there's something wrong with the server. I have something critical. I see the volume is okay. So my volumes are okay, my server's okay. And when I double click here then, I can see I'm getting packet loss and CPU load, so I need to investigate this after the webinar. So I know the guys in the Ha-Shem want to talk to their end users as well about specific information. I'd like to thank you all. If you have any questions, fire them into the chat box. If we're not able to answer them on the webinar, we will follow up offline later on. Thanks for your time, guys, and I'll hand you back to Ryan and Ha-Shem. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. Yes, guys, from my side, thanks everybody once again for joining. This is something we will be scheduling regularly. So please look out for the invites from Ha-Shem, and any follow-up questions, any additional information you need, we are, of course, always available, so don't hesitate to get in contact. I'm going to hand it over to Ha-Shem now, and they will be closing us off today. Thank you, guys. Hi, Adebayo, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you all for your time, and thank you, Mr. Ryan and Mr. Mark. We will be sending out a thank you mail, and in the mail will be linked to the recording and the presentation. So I'd also like to say that if you have any other question, you can forward your questions to sales@hashem.com. That's sales@hashem.com, and we'll get back to you on that. We're going to be presenting a document. I know the common question would then be how much these products are going for and if there are offers. And so yes, we're going to be doing that shortly, and so you'd see the document. Okay, so here we have a special offer. Like some of you will be wondering if there are any offers at all. Yes, we have an offer, and so here we have a 20% extra off purchase of select products listed below. SolarWinds Network Performance Monitor, SolarWinds NetFlow Traffic Analyzer, SolarWinds Server and Application Monitor. So that's 20% extra off purchase of these products that is on your screen right now. And we also have a 50% off your implementation costs. And there's a caveat there, terms and conditions would apply as regards this. So like I mentioned earlier, if you have questions regarding this also, please also just forward your questions to sales@hashem.com. We really want to thank you for taking out time, and we hope to hear from you soon. So you can follow us on social media network. Ha-Shem is on LinkedIn at Ha-Shem Network Services Limited. We're on Twitter at Ha-Shem Network. Also on Instagram at Ha-Shem Network, and on Facebook at Ha-Shem Network Services Limited. So you can get all our information here and follow us on all social media platforms to still get further information. Thank you very much. Thank you very much all, and do have a pleasant day ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And we have a copy of today's session recorded, which we can share afterwards. So please get in contact with us, and we would be happy to share the recording. Thank you all.